Thank you for tuning in to AndronETalks Radio, gathering as one in our sovereign truth from a galactic perspective, exploring our world with new ideas, knowledge, and a promise of a better future. Galactic discussions for galactic-minded people. AndronETalks.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Yellow Vest Report. It's been a little bit of a while before we talked about what's going on over in Europe and in France in particular, but we will be touching on some other areas of the world that are also going through many of these challenges. And of course, I'm here joined with Chris. And we are going to discuss some of the many things that are happening today. So without further delay, hello, Chris.
Hi, Jess. How are we doing?
Doing well. Considering all these circumstances, I think that it's still going, isn't it? We still have all of this tug of war over freedoms and inequities, and then throw in an impending race war and virus. So,
right.
Or is it bacterial, according to the Italian assessment?
Well, it's bacterial.
COVID. They call it bacterial.
So I don't know. It seems it was already confusing before the COVID situation, but now we have the COVID, and on the top of it, that whole racial thing going on, and all these supposedly worldwide unfairness because of the white people. So I mean, the whole thing is so convoluted. It's very hard to figure out what is what at this point, other than they are retrieving and removing freedom bit by bit and installing more and more of those 1984 type of scenarios. Yep.
Right. That's the Animal Farm reference book. Book by George Orwell. So, first of all, I want to start by saying thank you to Jennifer, who is French-Swiss, and she sent a lot of articles. There's so many, I don't even think we can cover them, but we'll add them to the end of the video, and everyone can review it. And for those who are not French-speaking, you won't be able to understand what some of the videos are saying or the articles unless you do some kind of translation. So that's why we're going to try to cover as much as we can so this can reach a broader audience. So we're going to jump right into it because we have so much ahead of us, Chris. Let's talk about what's this article about.
Well, the thing is, we have the whole Brexit situation. It's not completely done yet, even if supposedly now with Johnson, supposedly they are pushing for the Brexit, but it's not completed yet. So they're still fighting with the European community. That if it's not signed by the 15th of October, that Boris Johnson will literally leave the negotiation. So it just threw a ultimatum. So it seems that things are not really moving forward. They make it sound like they do, but the European community is such a dictatorial government type of situations. It's just unbelievable. It's very easy to get in, but it's very hard to get out.
Right.
And right now they still, but the thing is, Johnson is playing a strange game. They say that he's working hand in hand with Trump, playing the game of being, showing the worst side of himself, driving people crazy, COVID-19, lockdown, this and that. Supposedly it's for the people to get out in the street and finally fight for their own freedom. I don't know. It's very strange, but that whole European community is getting tiring. I mean, they're fighting for that for how long now?
Yeah, and well, so this is from the perspective of the French, what's going on over in England. Okay.
Right. So not considering that France and Macron are working hand in hand with Rothschild and Brussels, and even if he's not the president of the EU, which was his dream, Macron finds himself like being the Trump of the EU. He feels like he represents the whole EU and the world right now. Right?
Yeah, so we're gonna move on to the next one. And I mean, we could talk for hours on each one of these topics.
We have to go quick, huh? I know.
Yeah. Here is Paris, the Eiffel Tower evacuate.
With on the top of the whole COVID-19 and the defund the police that happened in France and everywhere in Europe as well as here in the US. It's the same United Nations agenda, right? To be able to defragment bit by bit the sovereignty of every country. We need to remove the police first. While in the same time, they have to create these feeling of insecurity. Is very important for their agenda to work. So right now there is all these different false alerts, bomb alerts, or there's a lot of different aggression going on everywhere in France, like we can see here in the US. Racial mostly. So it's just to create that feeling of tension.
We'll go on to the next one. So in France, on the street harassment, Strasbourg, woman attacked for wearing a skirt. What is this?
So there's that whole Muslim situation in France, supposedly that depending if the government doesn't want the people to look at what type of bill they are pushing, suddenly they throw a new subject to the news and say, most of the time 1 or 2 false flag regarding some Muslim that are attacking other people, women mostly, and then suddenly they're going to be talking about that for the next 3 weeks. And of course, remember that the elections after Macron 2 years from now, it's supposed to be the niece of Marine Le Pen, which is Marion Maréchal, and she's completely under the control of the Zionists. So they need to create that feeling of insecurity and that hate towards the Muslim and the foreigners. In the same time that they have that anti-racist thing going on. Imagine how confusing that is right now.
But meanwhile, it has to be very disconcerting that a person who would typically just go out and dress as they would, typically dress, whether it's right or wrong, it's to literally get attacked. So here in this situation, the French police have opened an investigation after a woman in Strasbourg said that she was attacked in broad daylight for wearing a skirt. The student, she's young, so identified only as Elizabeth, 22, said she was punched in the face by 3 individuals who complained about me wearing a skirt. The government has denounced the very serious incident as unacceptable. About 1,800 fines have been handed out since the law against street harassment was passed in 2018. Slap video of harassed woman shocks France and so forth. So it's pretty crazy.
This is still connected to the Me Too movement.
And she's a black guys and I mean.
So in France, there are 3-4 subjects they are juggling in the news with. The first one is all these women that are killed by their husbands. So violence against women, which are definitely condemned. That's a fact. But then they play after that with the Muslim thing. Oh, the Muslims are, people are racist against the Muslim. Muslim is a problem. Then the anti-Jew. Then the terrorist attacks. And they go from one to another like that. And I mean, right now, it's pretty much everything all the time. In the same time, they play with all type of different of these favorite subject of theirs.
It's a divide and conquer subjects.
Yes, right. And people don't see the bills that are being voted right now.
So here's another one. This did not happen in Paris. Both these stories, I guess, is This incident right here happened in Strasbourg, and this one down here is in Mulhouse. So there was another one. The skirt is too short, according to deciding what somebody's wardrobe should be. Okay. Here's another article. I honestly can't read this one. Something about this dictatorship under the cover of health. And what are they saying here? Can you...
Okay, so voilà ce que nous devons tous faire. So pretty much what they say now, they're pushing for disobedience, civil disobedience. Otherwise, everybody's going to die, not of COVID, but of loneliness, of the fact that you cannot have any entertainment anymore. Everybody's isolated. You cannot have any family reunion or any type of freedom, and that government is absolutely incapable of handling the whole financial situation that's coming out of the whole lockdown. So people are saying, just freaking wake up, shit. Wake up, people. You need to disobey now, otherwise it's over. Because it's true, they're pushing really hardcore right now. You cannot have any birthday, you cannot have commercials everywhere on television, that a birthday can be, you can kill 20-30 people because you have a birthday. So we cannot celebrate anything. We have to shut down all the restaurants. You have to be alone, separated, with a mask, miserable, depressed, of course. So your immune system goes down, and now we can even have a third wave and a fourth wave and a fifth wave. That's people are fighting back.
It's happening all around. I mean, I have a friend that was complaining that she can't go visit her mother, who has strangely, caught COVID while she's in the nursing home. So if nobody's able to go in there, how are these people getting sick?
Because this is a scandal. They have a lot of people in the EHPAD. EHPAD is like apartment for old people where you have some nurse around, and they have sent a lot of, like they did here in New York, a lot of people contaminated in these places, and
but the loved ones can't visit them.
No.
And so that's kind of the thing that's going on, is that it's the strangeness of the way that it's managed. It's intended to harm, isolate, and cause other problems and create an inhuman interaction. But we've had a little break in some areas where you're able to go out and interact with people, but even still, you can feel the tension. And I was hearing, here in New England, this each state is managing it differently, but I guess there was a pastor or someone that has been arranging marriages, and they're calling him a spreader because he was marrying people, and of course the gatherings and so forth, and they were identifying them as not being safe. So and I mean, I understand under certain circumstances, I wouldn't want anyone to be sick. I wouldn't want anything to happen to anyone. But on the other hand, as long as we understand that these rules, these guidelines, are not necessarily for our well-being. So, all right, on to the next topic. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, if they're saying that we might go towards a new type of Cold War, and if yes, then Europe needs to choose its side. Well, we have China on one hand and America on the other hand.
China and America, right?
Exactly, and so the European community has worked hand in hand with the Chinese CCP government, have allowed to, they have been bought literally of these people in power for a few hundred of thousands of euro. They literally sold their countries by allowing the Chinese to install the 5G Huawei technology, which is literally invasive to a point where it literally controls and can access every technology, every secret, everything, the power grids, everything. So they've lost their sovereignty. Now, President Trump is telling them, okay, we can reverse that, but you need to stop working with, you need to stop that right now. So there is a war going on there. See, and that is why the European community, of course, is full Chinese Marxist agenda. controlled by the Galactic United Nations. So yeah, they're in big trouble in the European community. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they should have never gotten involved with Huawei, and everyone knew about it, but they did it anyhow. I think it was the Italian government that got very, very entrenched in it, and they suffered pretty seriously because of that.
Anyone that was deeply embedded with the Chinese and had that 5G working, and I know they might not want to say that, but those who activated that 5G Huawei had the highest level of COVID-19 situation. I mean,
we had proof on that.
Yeah.
And here's Barack Obama mentioned what I don't know how he is. Still a headliner. They were saying he's the most popular leader on the planet. I'm still trying to figure out why, but it's the mesmerizing, the magic, the illusion, and while Trump is trying to get control of things, he's out there mixing it up even more.
Mm-hmm. Well, Obama sold literally, there was a 16-year plan where Obama was for 8 years literally selling bit by bit the United States to China. And then Hillary was supposed to finish the job and bring the whole Chinese merging, literally China, every country in the world will merge with China and adapt to the Chinese system. At least Trump is stopping
that. Which is a one world computer order.
Yeah. This one, yes, of course, France has to do their apologies tour as well for the slavery and that they're responsible for as white people. Those people has nothing to do with the slavery that happened to them.
This is an international agenda now. So yeah.
So I mean, it's a mix of everything, and I mean over there it's really intense because you have all the islands. So now those people are proclaiming to be,
sovereign
victims of slavery, and I mean it's.
Yeah, but they're pulling out, aren't they? They're pulling out of the Commonwealth and some other.
There's a lot of stuff going on politically, for sure. But they need to do that if they want to be reelected right now. That's
the colonization part was never dealt with, and so someone's trying to definitely, slap everyone's hands. But it's many years later than it occurred. So it's like I don't know. I mean, by this time, there's been so many turnovers as far as like the souls. So probably, in my opinion, it's probably the souls that actually suffered are probably who knows what race they are right now. So it's like how do you? Although that's a whole other issue. It's a whole it's to make it it's incorrect that colonization ever happened. I mean, there's no way around it. It is never right. But I don't know. It's almost like it's very late in the game, and to punish the people that had no involvement in it doesn't seem right either. So I mean, that's pretty much all I want to say about that for now. Okay, so moving on. So is the religion aspect. And about this is Muslim.
So a leader, a brother, a Muslim leader, director of the center. Can you go just so I can read? Yeah, the formation. It's like a center of Muslim information, and is calling for the murder of Charlie Hebdo. That's that satiric newspaper that a few years ago already got a. And they want to go after them again.
A reference to his. What would be perceived as hate against the Muslims or something that was derogatory?
Right, because you cannot say anything about them whatsoever. Otherwise, it's
they're hypersensitive now. Yeah. Oh. So I mean, it's funny because you can call Trump whatever you want and have him make fun of his hair, some ridiculous weird thing, but you can't even in reference. It's like you can't say a word and then everyone gets upset, which prevents you from having a discussion about it. When you're not allowed to have to talk about something, that means that they're going to make sure that you don't find a resolve.
But what's crazy here is that they are literally, it's like when you do a sequel of an old movie, right? And you take the same story and then do a sequel of it to make some money. Well, here it's to create more tension again, because
right.
I can tell you for a fact, the French government, and they've done that so many times, every time they're losing control, which is right now what's going on, the whole people, the media, everyone is pissed at the government. They have changed the government, right? With a new prime minister and everything. But I mean, it's same crap, different smell, right? But it's the same thing. And they're losing control. So they cannot allow that to happen. People start to fight back. They start to lose control on the fact that, scientists start to push back, saying, hey, there's no COVID. There are cases, yes, of people positive, and 90% of them are not even positive. That there's so many mistakes, and there's less and less death. So why are we pushing that down again? Why are we pushing that narrative for second wave when there's none of it scientifically is proven? It's the opposite. So now they have to push these terrorist attack and this and that, and most of these guys are working directly with the secret services of France.
Years ago, I sat and heard this woman speak, and it was on a local level, and she was having a discussion. I think it was related to divorces and mediation, and then mediation within the school systems, and then mediation within politics. And she, highlighted the point of mediation and how the discussions are what enables us to get from, a very, very tense situation into a resolve, and to try to find out what it is that would help people to better understand. So it's like, getting really angry at someone and then burning their house down, or getting really angry and then having a place where you can discuss what's wrong, what's bothering you, and that someone has an understanding of what happened and that it can be dealt with fairly. But this is the intelligent way to approach things. The other aspect of this is dumbing everyone down so it becomes more barbaric, and people are just doing like the most horrendous crimes against each other. But it seems like complete ignorance, and if not, like very, very evil, very, very evil. And so karmically, the ones that are doing these really aggressive acts, because there's no forum to mediate, to have a discussion, to figure out what's actually wrong, what's the anger about, where's the issue, because a lot of people have no idea what any of these topics are about. And the anger is going on behind the scenes, it's building up, and by the time the people go out in the streets, they're enraged. And so it's too late at that point. You can't have any reason or any discussion about these things. Something intelligent has to be done. I'm still waiting for someone intelligent to step up and do something about it. I don't know. Maybe that will never happen. So but someone should at least suggest it. Someone should say, we need to actually sit down and find out what's going on, because they're clearly using groups against another, and just trying to increase tension, make this planet very uncomfortable to live in. It's not necessary. We need to stop being puppeted.
Yep. Stop sleepwalking.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Okay, here we go. This is the man of the hour.
That is my favorite one. Yeah, look at that face, huh? First of the class, huh? What a good student. All right, this guy, well, he has won the award, the Oscar of hypocrisy, because he's treating his yellow vest people that are fighting for food and for justice, social justice and freedom. is treating them like criminals, send them to jail even before they even do anything. Just by suspicion is enough. But now here he is going to, of course, Lebanon after the explosion that happened over there. That is, the real explosion was not even the one we saw. The real explosion that nobody talked about really is the fact that all the banks in Lebanon, they were for years, Lebanon was the richest country. It was the Switzerland of the Middle East. And there was so much money over there. And for some reason, the deep state and the pirate be, the wannabe in power on this planet, I would say, made a beta test on Lebanon before they could do it in the world for their reset. For the last 2 years, they're pushing negative interest in every banks, and therefore it would lead to a point where all the banks would have zero money. So it doesn't matter if you have $20 million in a bank account, those numbers, I mean, there is no cash to if you ask to retrieve your money, they couldn't. There's no enough cash anymore. So what happened is that people from one day to another, all the banks literally told the people, listen, all the banks are bankrupt. There's nothing. We have no money. You lost everything. We talk about billions and billions and billions of dollars. So one of the richest countries in the world, even if the country went to war, people still have a lot of money in the bank accounts. It's gone. They're literally worse than Greece now. Plus that explosion that happened over there. So now we have that idiot there.
Let's see what he says.
4 août dernier, l'explosion du port de Beyrouth a fait basculer le Liban dans un chaos sans précédent depuis la fin de la guerre civile. Et je dois le dire, seule l'extraordinaire force du peuple libanais a permis au pays, exsangue, épuisé, en colère, de préserver depuis ce qui pouvait encore l'être. La France a été là, à ses côtés dès les premières heures, avec fraternité et bienveillance. Elle le sera toujours.
Well, I can translate a bit. Yeah, I mean,
what's going on here?
Okay, so now is France and his boss, the Rothschild that he worked with, have destroyed Lebanon, the whole banking. And now that the explosion happened, now he comes and says France is the friends of the Lebanese, and we're going to be here to help you, and not telling those guys that he is also part of the problem. So it's again the same thing: create a problem, wait for the reaction, and then bring the solution. So now is these hypocrite guys saying that he's helping and he's understand the Lebanese and and France is, is there with them. I mean, you want to puke when you hear that.
Yeah. He looks so sincere, doesn't he?
Oh, jeez. I mean,
it has to be. It's the people probably just shaking their heads, saying, "Oh, are we missing something?"
I mean, I'm sorry. Something. This guy has coronas. I'm gonna say it in Spanish. I mean, of a size, it's unbelievable. I don't know where it got that confidence and to be able to speak to the world like the leader that want to solve problem when he's not even able to solve what's going on in his own country. It's unfreaking believable.
Well, he's trying to gather some kind of appreciation or recognition
internationally.
And saying, it's almost like, having an adopted kid and then showering that kid with everything and then telling your own child, see, they appreciate me. That sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a brown nose, in the class that want to always have the teacher liking him. I mean, just want to bully him really well. I'm against bullying, but this guy, definitely no problem. What is going on here?
What's going on here?
Oh, Belarus. All right, election in Belarus. There are different version. One version says that the deep state doesn't want that guy Belarus to be elected, so they're pushing for the people to go in the street and fight against that election that's supposedly illegal, like they tried to do here with Trump if he ever wins. But here we have Jupiter the First, king of France, that decided that he needs to put his foot there as well and come as the French leader peacemaker, support the protest, which are, if you look at the images, the police is cracking down on them big time, arresting them and sending them to jail. And if you put the cameras and microphone near the jails, you can hear people screaming because of the tortures. So it's a really serious situation. But he is vouching for them. He says the people have the right to fight in the street and fight for their freedom. When is the last time he went in his own country? Because I'm very, very, I mean,
that's bizarre. That it's almost like he's in his own little world. He's the contradiction is severe.
No, do you understand what people in France are scratching their head? Like, is he literally saying this? I mean, is he joking?
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
insulting.
it's just sort of like, it's beyond insulting. It's almost like he's actually thinking that people are not going to notice, it seems, or it's a complete mockery against the people. That the insult, constantly adding insult to injury to his own people.
Everybody hate him, and the more they hate him, the more he loves it. I have a feeling he's one of those that, I'm sorry, but got beat up when he was a kid or worse, and he's confusing about what is love. I mean, literally, people hate him. He doesn't even see it. He went in the street last time and people insulted him and said, "You're a criminal." And he was almost shocked, like, why you say that? Why?
Yeah.
I cannot work with my
like
wife.
Delusions
and be in
of
peace.
grandeur.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Okay, here we have another article, because we go on and on about Macron.
All right. So this guy is a guy that's fighting the Zionists for and the power they have. They literally controlled France. We call Paris the New Jerusalem because the Zionists, which are not so people understand, Zionists are not Jew. They are most of the time people the fake Jew that hate Jews, but they use the Jew card to have control. So this guy, well, I guess he's pretty open, and he did different books, and he's not shy. So now they go after him for years and years and years, and he has to pay 134,000 euro to the LICRA, which is one of the worst organizations there is.
Because he's been trying to inform people. They said Paris is the New Jerusalem. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
And what is the reason?
It's connected to the third temple. It's connected to the new king. The arrival of the new king that will be supposedly a Jew. It's connected to the Antichrist. So
the New World Order.
Yo, absolutely.
Okay. But what does Paris in particular have to do with it? That's the third temple, you said?
Yeah. Why, I don't know. But that's how they call Paris, the third temple, and the New Jerusalem. And we know that the LICRA has a full power. Last time the president was doing a speech at the LICRA, which is the League Against Anti-Jew Crime, or da-da-da-da-da. And you saw the president of the LICRA literally grabbing the arm of Macron, putting it up. You could see Macron was not comfortable. He brought it down, and the guy took his arm and brought it up, like saying, "I am controlling you, my friend. You have nothing." I mean, seriously, the guy has no power. They got him by the, you know what? So France is controlled by those organizations, as well as the Freemasons.
It's just the elite. Yeah, all of the elite. So whichever title or name or group or whatever race that they go by, it's...
I mean, he's going hardcore, is going frontal with them. Now, is there an agenda behind it? Possible. It's not very smart, I guess, the way he's doing it. But
yeah. But this guy right here, yeah.
There's 2 or 3 of them that.
But he's still alive.
I know. They tried to kill him several times, it seems.
You send him protection. These people that speak out. It's not easy to be the one. It's like
He said he has a T-shirt that says "French without fear, Christian without reproach," meaning he didn't like, pretty much the opposite of those who are finding him.
He was probably a Templar or something, or someone that. Yeah. Who knows?
There's a definite agenda behind. That is disgusting. Yeah. And that's my country. I cannot believe it.
Yeah, it's in Belgium.
All right. So in Belgium, they have finally, after 3 years of fight in the government, they finally vote that bill that authorize to open these mailbox for babies. Where if you give birth or you have a baby that you don't want, you just go open that box, put the baby in, close the box. There will be an alarm. A nurse will come, grab the baby, and that's it. And it's anonymous.
Wow.
That is absolutely disgusting because right now they have less and less children. And I'm talking about, well, I don't think it's the subject today. I guess we're going to do another show about that. But yeah. It's horrible. It's horrible. We're going to have another discussion about this one. What is this?
I don't know.
Sure. Oh, now look at that photo up. That is beautiful. For those who thought that for those who thought that vaccination was, we cannot zoom.
I'm trying to zoom in a little bit more, see if it can go. But technically, what we're looking at, and we'll put that link in there for people to see it. He's getting a vaccine with the cap still on the syringe.
Right, photo up. But now, if you want to take a vaccine and it's so inoffensive, they should all take it. But remember, those people don't accept the vaccine because they know it's in there.
Right.
But the photo up is beautiful. I mean, it says everything right there.
Here's another country that the Savior has come to deliver.
Well, yeah, it's the same. It's Belarus. Macron calls for peaceful transition, meaning, for the guy to step down and have a new guy to come up, which I'm pretty sure his boss have already
that ruler
chosen.
should step down, but not him.
Right.
That's interesting.
See? No, no. I mean, he's amazing. They call in France, they call it their supreme leader. Because they pretty much mock him, that he really think he's the supreme leader of France, of the world.
He's the savior of the world.
He called himself Jupiter. What do you think that means? I mean, in his mind, he's Louis XIV, but the new version.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's lots of ego there. And unfortunately, when you have people with lots of ego and in power, wow, everybody really feels the pain. Okay.
Yeah.
Regions alarmed by a sonic boom by a warplane. Yeah, I'd be a little alarmed with everything going on.
I know, right? Well, the thing is, it was just like two, how you call that? The airplanes, regular airplanes with passengers, the commercial airplanes that lost radio contact with the tower. So they had to send one of those, military plane to go check. And I think something happened when he created a sonic boom. And I guess in Paris,
maybe that was done
scared.
to put everyone
again
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. On the edge.
The plane was a Falcon 50 operated by a Brazilian company. Mm-hmm. Flying between Cape Verde and Brussels. And the other was traveling between French cities. Brives and
Saint-Brieuc. Yeah, Amelia Airline.
And operated by the Amelia Airline. The loud noise shook windows around the city and the suburbs of Paris and caused alarm to residents. So I think is this going to be footage?
This is why it's because of the old.
Que sur le bio. Il y a l'explosion.
Just when she moved.
Il va voir la tête.
So people are scared because they realize that, gosh, another explosion, another terrorist attack. That's why they're on the edge. Literally, their nerves are ready to explode because there's so much going on.
It was really weird the way when she moved the wine bottle, it happened simultaneously.
Yeah, I don't know why they were recording that. But
I mean, it's sort of, we'll do it again. See?
That is a strong one. Normally, it's not like that. I've seen these sonic booms. I've heard them.
See, when she moves it, it's right at the exact same time. It's almost like it's the sound of the bottle, but it isn't. It's kind of weird. Okay, U.S. contacts of embassy security firm mauled kidnapping or poisoning of Assange in London. Witnesses tell UK court. So, yeah, we're moving over to, meanwhile, in London, this is what's going on. And it's kind of like that other guy that was, openly complaining and protesting. And so this is what they do to these guys. They just slowly kind of harass them, kind of give them an idea that, oh, maybe you'll be released or we'll leave you alone. And then they pull you back in and, trying to poison them.
Well, the thing is, with Assange, what's going on is that the U.S. was supposedly, wanted to bring him over there in the U.S. so he can be judged for I don't know how many counts. But President Trump is supposedly to free him. So the deep state doesn't want him to go to the U.S. and talk, because if he does, he has a lot of information regarding Seth Rich, the guy that gave him all the information about the Hillary Clinton and everything she did. I mean, he's the one that took the whole file of the DNC and sent it to WikiLeaks, and then they killed him. So right now they still wonder. They think it's the Russians supposedly that send that information of the DNC. But if that guy Assange goes to the United States and start talking under the protection of Trump, because he's going to bring a lot of information, that's the end of the DNC. So there is a lot going on here. It's not what the news are talking about. It's way deeper than that.
Yeah. The prosecutor claims Assange may be faking his depression after a doctor says extradition could trigger suicide. I'd be depressed. You're standing up for a lot of people trying to expose or reveal information, and they're letting prisoners out on the streets. Right. Yeah, people that murder people, that's okay. Mm-hmm. But anyone that tells the truth, it's not okay. But
so why they don't want to extradite him?
Hypocrisy. Yep. Hey, EU, lay off Hungary's Viktor Orban simply because he rejects modern liberal ideas in favor of a different democratic route. Okay. He's under fire again, so, I mean, isn't this where Soros is from? One of the EU officials claiming he's building an ill democracy. His Christian conservative values that prioritize family and religious tradition will never sit easily with liberals. The EU loves a boogeyman. I haven't read fully this article, have you? Are you still there?
Oh crap! I didn't realize I was on mute. Yeah. So what
like
happened
it got
here
strangely quiet.
With me, that's strange, right? Viktor Orban, of course, is the guy from Hungary, the prime minister.
Yes.
That is unorthodox, because what's going on is that guy is super Christian, and family is the most important thing. Christianity, family, which is the exact opposite of what the United Nation agenda is pushing through the EU, which is the fragmentation of the family unit. So there is children that are literally under the control of the government, with another very dark agenda behind that. And of course, Christianity needs to be removed completely. So he is the enemy, because he's pushing the exact opposite. And kick them out, kick Soros out.
Coming out of Soros's country there, yeah.
Well, he banned Soros. Soros is not welcome in Hungary. I mean, this guy.
We should ban him from the rest of the world.
Yeah, that would.
It really wouldn't be that hard.
Nope.
I think we could trade him off and put him in the place of where Assange is. That might be a better trade.
So it's kind of like, it's like Trump, pushing, Christianity, family, the Bible, all that stuff. Of course, that's the enemy of those idiots in power. Especially Soros cannot stand that.
There's his name right here.
Yeah.
Sure, he has some favorite targets: the liberals, weak national politicians abroad, aboard the Brussels gravy train, and of course, the billionaire philanthropist George Soros, sponsor of the very same foundation that years ago saw Orban win a scholarship to study political science at Oxford University. Ironically, it may well have been that year in the UK in which his politics began their journey to where they are today, with Orban often having a pop at Soros, undeniably a central figure in the geopolitical power games.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot understand what they call Soros a philanthropist. They call Kill Bill also Bill Gates a philanthropist. Yeah. He's investing in companies that are his. How is that being philanthropist?
Yep.
That's where the donation goes. So he doesn't have to pay tax. I mean, wow.
Donating to people killing others. That's wonderful. I think that's
on which
there's
they
another
make money.
There's another name for that.
I don't know.
Yeah, what do you call someone that you hire to go and kill another person?
Yeah, I know. I know.
I didn't know that was called philanthropy. Okay.
No, I remember. War, they call it peace. Slavery, they call it freedom. So when you invest in companies that you own to make profits and not pay tax, they call it philanthropy. I mean, these people are fantastic. They have a word for everything.
Suddenly the meaning changes when it comes to them.
Yeah, I know. Belgium. Here we go. Well, I mean, this country was, as I said one day, I mean, it was created after the loss of the war of Waterloo of Napoleon. Right, it was the war, and then they created a buffer country, taking a portion of Holland and a portion of France to create Belgium. Well, right now, I mean, these two portions of the countries really dislike each other, and the Flemish are pushing for the last 25 years. They want to literally split the country, and that's why this is one of the countries that had the world record of no government, a year and something. And again, they're pushing that same agenda right now. So I don't know what's going on, what's going to happen here.
Everything's busting at the seams. There's just a lot of pressure all around.
Yeah, and I wonder why. Who is behind it? I wouldn't be surprised that Soros is behind all these different things we're talking about.
Yeah, or at least his friends.
I mean, he's definitely behind a lot with his NGO. But hey, he's a philanthropist, so, you know.
As European governments weigh stricter measures amid rising COVID-19 cases.
Yeah,
let's see what Boris.
Last week. At the same time, we've been intensifying the local lockdowns in areas where the disease has been flaring up. And I want to say I know how tough it is and has been for these communities. And I want to pay a particular tribute to the students who are experiencing a first term back at university, unlike anything they...
He was talking about the students there at the university, and what they did was they had tell the students to go to school, go into their dorms, and then they put them all in lockdown. And one of the students said they gave them 10 minutes to go out and get everything that they need, and then they have to go back. So how do you get to a store and back in 10 minutes and get everything that you need? And they said they literally didn't have food.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who's running this?
It is so absurd, Jess. So absurd. There are so many cases like that when you're like, who thought, unless it's the stupidest of the stupidest that thought of that, or is done on purpose. I mean, and for me personally, I really think it's done on purpose. The students don't need to go to school because guess what? They could study from home. Online.
That's what they said. They could have been at home where there was food, there was, accommodations and everything that they need. Instead, they pretty much locked them up away from their family.
Right.
With nothing and had them suffering. And it's like, what's the divide? Why are they pulling the kids away from their parents?
I'm going to tell you why. because as long as they're with the parents, it's very hard to vaccinate them. Now they're in university and they're voting laws everywhere in Europe where, government, if they think that you aren't creating a danger, any type of private, other than your family, like a private space, like a university, they can literally test you and they can force vaccination on you. There's so much double agendas here. It's unbelievable. It's criminal. We can thank Kill Bill for that, right?
Yep. But it's pretty much going all over the world now. Oh, let me.
I have no idea what that is about. I don't know what that's about.
Brussels, the law breaches.
The law breaches. I mean, the EU, whereas true. No idea what that is about. I didn't see that.
Brussels has been naive in the past over the rule of law breaches, a senior member of the European Commission was told. And Vera Jourova was speaking at the EU. We simply have to admit to ourselves that we were naive in the past. And for the values and transparency, referring to the breaches of the rule of law. She went on to explain the rule of law and the EU values have been taken for granted. It's quite clear that we have to increase the pressure to show these are the principles of the club, Jourova told Euronews. Poland and Hungary are among the countries frequently clashing with Brussels over issues regarding the rule of law. The report was presented a day after Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban, there he is again, called on Jourova to resign. And this was in relation to the interview Jourova gave to German magazine Der Spiegel, in which she made comments that translates as, Mr. Orban says often that he builds an illiberal democracy. I would say he builds a sick democracy. Addressing the calls for her to resign, Jourova, a former government minister in the Czech Republic, told the Euronews, "What I said, I said." And she added this, she'd repeated it in different words, that she had serious concerns about the state of play in Hungary.
Okay, so again, this is deep state UN, EU, Kill Bill World Organization slaves talking right now, because they are at war against Orban, because Orban is the only one that defies the rule of law of the club. When she says the club, is the club of Rome.
Yeah, she just said it. She said it up here, the club.
Yeah, because I mean, last time I checked, the EU is not a club. What is the club? The Club of Rome. Club of Rome is a very high level deep state organization. Right. So she's pretty much saying that right now they are at war against him because he's the only one that's not in line. Like the others are good students, they obey. All the other ministers of every country, they betrayed their people and forced the rule of law of that Nazi Marxist system, right? To remove sovereignty of every country and sovereignty of the people. So they're a good student, the others, but Orban is not. He's doing the exact opposite. He's the bad student of the class. So he's pushing for more Christianity, the center of the family, the unit, the children, the parents are in charge of their children and not the government, and they cannot stand that. So they have to force now and push the rule of law even stronger. I mean, he's definitely a stone in their shoe. They cannot sleep at night because of him. I kind of like the guy. I don't agree on everything, but yeah, everybody should do the same.
Here's the second wave. Second wave of the coronavirus. Which countries in Europe are experiencing a fresh spike in COVID-19 cases? Well, we heard that there was, I heard that from Rolf, that it's considered, a high rating right now as far as, and it's not quite lockdown, but it's, I guess other nations around there are seeing them as being in the red or in some kind of place where you would have to be, you'd have to go somewhere for 2 weeks, stay at home for 2 weeks. So here are some of the countries The countries across Europe are seeing a resurgence in COVID-19 cases after successfully slowing outbreaks early in the year. Some countries such as Albania, Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Montenegro, North Macedonia are seeing higher case numbers in August than they did earlier in the year. France and the UK, Poland, the Netherlands, and Spain are likely dealing with the much feared second wave and have started taking action to curb it. France, for example, has declared 16,096 new cases on Thursday, and the Netherlands 3,001 on Tuesday, the highest figures that they had recorded. And I guess, I don't know if this has anything to do with kids going back to school or whatever else is going on. Well, on the face of the infection numbers may be higher, could have been accounted for by the increase in testing. Many countries didn't have the capacity to carry out tests in such a high volume earlier in the year. So it's just, here again, there's really not a lot of proof, it seems like, but they're building it up and saying how it's due to the testing that they're seeing that it's a problem.
So here is what's going on. And I mean, it's very important for people to be aware of that and stop sleepwalking, because they might wake up one day in a state, in a country where they won't be able to have any freedom whatsoever. The whole thing is literally a huge pandemic, I call it, because they have created a sickness. I don't care where it's coming from right now. That doesn't matter. But the whole goal that they had in the beginning, all these Kill Bill, these guys created all these curbs, right? And the projections of the millions of people that are going to die. Well, remember, that was their goal. It didn't happen. So now they have to force that second wave. How can they do that? Well, we need to manipulate the numbers. Well, the less people are dying. Well, I know, but we need to manipulate the number. How can we do that? Well, let's use the CPR test. The test was created in 1984 by an American guy that was a microbiologist, created a test to be able to see, test what we call DNA matter. Not COVID-19, DNA matter, anything that has DNA in it. So that test just tells you, yes, there is some DNA matter here. That's it. That's all it says. But they're pushing every country to test. And the labs, depending on the numbers they need to show, because we can manipulate the numbers, well, they just, if you spin that thing 30,000 cycle, you will be negative. If you push 40, 50, 60,000 cycle, the magic number, even if there is nothing there, it will show a positive. So you can have as many positives as you want. So when they talk about 16,000 cases, they simply say 16,000 people that have something that's DNA material, there's some type of DNA material, and they call it COVID-19. And that drives me crazy, because right now, based on a lie, the biggest lie there is in the history, they are literally moving the freedom of everyone. There's less death. The CDC just announced right now that the amount of deaths was 0.0003%. I mean, less than a flu.
But they're getting sick, but they're not all dying. This is the second wave, right?
And in France, Raoul, the Professor Raoul, the #1 virologist in the world, says give that, and a lot of other doctors in the US, give them hydroxychloroquine and quinine, zinc, chlorophyll, and they will heal within days. Nobody dies anymore. But of course, Kill Bill want to sell his vaccine. We need to create fear, and he said the second wave, if people didn't hear and didn't listen the first wave, they're going to listen for the second wave. He was laughing when he said that, pretty much saying, don't worry, we're going to make it really, really crazy this time. And the scientist comes and say, wait a minute, look at the curves. The deaths are barely to nothing. Nobody dies of it anymore. So why are we again pushing the lockdown? And because there are more cases doesn't mean more death. It means more people positive. The New York Times 2 weeks ago just announced that 90% of the cases that were positive are fake positive. 90%. And only 6% of the 200,000 people that died in America Only 6% were due to COVID-19. The rest, 94, is something else. I mean, it doesn't matter the proof. Scientists are not heard anymore. Now the journalists have more power than the scientists.
The journalists literally are driving the ship.
Yeah, they're bots.
Yeah, they're driving the emotions and you know, doing, you know, puppeting the public through levels of mind control and manipulation.
Absolutely. And they got paid, by the way, because Bill Gates, Kill Bill, gave like 6 months before a lot of money to all the main news organization in the world. Isn't it interesting?
Well, you know, this is a picture where they actually look like that. Here's the I guess that workers at a nursing home are holding a moment of silence in Spain. And I know Spain, they got locked down again and they were pretty upset about it. But, you know, it's a little better than seeing the medical doctors dancing in the hospital, which was like the insanity of the mockery that was going on.
I have, there is a video of a Spanish doctor, nurses from hospital in Spain talking about the fact that it's the biggest fakery there is. That there is no case, nobody's dying, but the government is pushing that through the media hardcore. I mean, that was a very important and very interesting. Oh, look at that one here.
Here's another one. A respect for international law is not optional. EU chief tells UN in thinly veiled reference to the UK. Britain's plan to flout international law over Northern Ireland will not break the Brexit deadlock, with the European Union more than ever determined to defend the rules-based international order. European Council President Charles Michel warned on Friday. In a thinly veiled reference to the UK, Michel told the United Nations General Assembly via video link that respect for treaties, a basic principle of international law, comes to be considered optional even by those who, until recently, were its historical guarantors. All this is in the name of partisan interests. More than ever, the European Union is defending the rules-based international order and cooperation based on universal values. The European Union wants to be stronger, more autonomous, and firmer to defend a fairer world. We are now developing these values and this open model with greater awareness of strength and more realism and perhaps less naivety. So this article right here is from Euronews.
That is the Belgium minister that now is the EU guy. It's outrageous. What they're saying, that if there are treaties, now they're optional between countries, because what overrule everything is the UN laws. So again, all these idiots that are the member of the UN that we never voted for, that are not even human, are controlling this planet. Authority.
Yeah.
And
look at his eyes. He doesn't look right. Actually, he almost looks like he has those reptilian eyes, doesn't he? Do you see that?
I mean, it's unbelievable. Look at that.
I mean, I don't know if it's me, but I'd have to take a closer look. But it seems to have those slits in his eyes.
I mean, he's so in love with the deep state, this guy. I mean, he sold his soul a long time ago. I mean, you should see what he says. Oh my God, the yellow vest and all that, for him, it's like, no. So right now, the EU and the international law take over. Even if you have a treaty, it's optional. It doesn't matter anymore. So the European community, what they're saying right now is that it doesn't really matter the treaty between countries. What matters is the international law pushed by the UN. So the UN is taking over, literally. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, pretty much so. Here's another Euronews. Macron, Europe must have a more united and clear voice with Turkey. Now he's involved with Turkey.
This guy's everywhere. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's French President Emmanuel Macron said Europe needed a more united and clear voice in Turkey, which is no longer a partner. Macron categorized some of Turkey's actions as inadmissible practices, including its drilling activities near Cyprus that are not worthy of a great state. We Europeans must be clear and firm with not Turkey as a nation and people, but with the government of President Erdogan, and which today has had unacceptable actions. President Macron said at a press conference ahead of the South European Summit, Macron said that Europe should avoid an escalation with Turkey, but said that Erdogan needed to clarify Turkish actions. His comments come as rising tensions in the Eastern Mediterranean between Turkey and Greece are likely to dominate the summit of southern European countries. And then Macron also said that he would launch a French-German initiative to welcome migrants following the fire at the Moria camp in Lesbos, but he gave few details about the plan to do so, which he said would be discussed today. So he's got a lot to say, doesn't he? He's, this is over in Corsica. Look at he's in Corsica with, this is Napoleon's homeland, and let's see if we can hear this.
Mais nous devons, nous Européens, être clairs et fermes avec non pas la Turquie comme nation ou comme peuple, mais avec le gouvernement du président Erdogan, qui aujourd'hui a des comportements inadmissibles, et je n'en ai cité qu'une partie. Je n'ai évidemment pas parlé des actes unilatéraux et des provocations de cet été à l'égard de la Grèce. Nos lignes rouges sont simples. Le respect de la souveraineté de tout État membre européen, le respect...
Did he just say respect for sovereignty?
No, it's like, wow.
I mean, are we looking at the same person? Respect for international law. Wait, let's just go back for a moment. I mean, it's.
Le respect du droit international, respect du droit européen, le respect.
I keep on missing it. Here it is. We'll go like this.
Le respect de la souveraineté de tout État membre européen.
Respect for the sovereignty of any EU member state.
And at the same time, we just saw the EU president saying that, all these treaties and all that doesn't really matter, meaning your sovereignty doesn't matter because the international is more important. So they say one thing is opposite, depending on the agenda they have. Unbelievable.
I don't know. It blows my mind, honestly.
Le respect du droit international, la condamnation de tous les actes unilatéraux. Notre volonté, c'est d'éviter toute escalade.
Our goal is to avoid any escalation.
I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. Between what they say and what they do, you're like, am I smoking here? It's like, what's going on? It's a good thing I stopped smoking, because I think I would look at my cigarette like, am I smoking weed? Is there any herbs or any weird stuff in my cigarette? What am I? Wow.
Hold on, let's see.
Mais éviter l'escalade ne doit pas signifier la passivité ou l'acceptation.
That's it. Words of the wise. Thank you, Macron. What will we do without him in this conversation?
I mean, it's Superman. In the same time, the guy's flying everywhere in the world. That's why his country goes through shit. He's never home.
Yeah, but I think it's better off that he's distracted by some other, savior event than to be home harassing and abusing the people in his nation.
Well, he doesn't need to, because he has delegated the power to the prefect of each region. Right now, they literally are in charge of the police and the protests and all that, of course, but also to handle the whole COVID-19 situation. So they're not scientists at all. Nobody elected them, but they're the one enforcing the law. It's...
Okay. We got here. Why is he closing his eyes?
Because they were a yellow vest protest not far away, and the cops tear gassed like crazy, and the wind went to the... So what they do here, they're just blaming the yellow vest for what the police did. Police is using gas.
La manière dont ça avait été géré. On a 1 millier... On est en train de perturber une nouvelle...
So what they say now is that the yellow vests are disturbing these people that are trying to have a business here, and the tear gas are affecting everybody. But it's of course discredit the Yellow Vest. They didn't do that for the other protest, the Antifa one and all the others. The race wars that they had against fascism, like 2-3 weeks ago or months ago.
Oh, they don't do that when Antifa's there. They do that when the Yellow Vest
and BLM and all these. I mean, they never ever dared to do that. But Yellow Vest, oh yeah, because they denounce pedophilia.
Yeah.
So they're back. So 12th of December, the Yellow Vest that got shut down after just before the beginning of spring, they were ready to go full force with all the unions. And I mean, it was supposed to be huge. COVID-19 happened. Oh my God, that virus is so clever. I mean, it just hit at the right time. And
Paris,
guess what?
Toulouse, Lyon.
Yeah, everywhere.
Can't see what the other one is. Yep.
Thousands and thousands.
Sur les réseaux sociaux, cet appel à la mobilisation sonne le retour des revendications liées à la précarité. Retraité, Gilles sera de la partie ce samedi, non pas à Paris, mais à la Croisière, dans l'une des rares cabanes qui subsistent encore.
Il faudrait qu'ils remettent l'ISF, déjà, parce que taper toujours sur les petits, il y en a ras-le-bol, quoi.
So what he says here is the same thing as the court says. We need to put the taxes on the rich, and it says we have to stop beating up the poor people. I mean, the poor and the vulnerable and the rich are making billions of dollars. I mean, it's just so they go back to the
that's
core.
The target. It's like killing children on the street because they're playing, because you can, and picking out the poor people who really don't have much, so they're an easy target. Hitting an elderly person.
Yeah,
it's the most cowardice time period I've ever seen in my life. There's no consciousness, and it's extremely cowardice and conscienceless.
Especially when you know what happened a few months ago or 2 months ago, and what type of protest was happening then. And the police had ordered to not move, to not do anything, to let everything be destroyed. And I'm like, wow. I mean, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
So these guys are the leaders, of course. They are back, which is good to see them, but they couldn't even, because they always announce where they're going to be. And of course, the police, they have a new Minister of Interior, and the police literally is even harder than they were before. I mean, you think they're dealing with terrorists? I mean, seriously, they're just people.
Yeah, and it's unlike in the U.S. where they're actually carrying weapons. These guys are they're really vulnerable, and they're you could see the real contrast. I mean, this actually seems like it has a purpose. And I mean, I don't know, and I know people are going to get angry that I just said that, but I mean, they're not carrying guns, they're not doing anything, they're vulnerable, and I mean, they're supposed to be able to peacefully protest, but they're treated as if they're not. So a severe contradiction and probably a lot of confusion, which is deliberate.
The thing is, the Yellow Vests don't want to defend the police. Do you know that? They don't want to defend the police. They said we need the police. What we need is a prefect that is not using the police against his own people to protect the government. That's unfair. That's all they ask. It's different from another organization, I'm not going to say the name, that is asking for the defund of the police. Because look, they don't look like defunded. What they don't know right now is their whole pension funds that they have paid for 30, 20, 50, depends how many years they're in, are gone. They just discovered that a week ago. There is no more pension. These guys are poor. They better work till they die. The government took everything and stole everything. Billions. Not just in France.
What was that bit? What is that?
These are, that is something for recycling. It's like a garbage bin. Yeah, well, you see all these guys in blacks are these Antifas. Fucked art. I'm sorry, because I can't stand them. They bring nothing other than chaos. And it's funny, again, same thing. Yellow vest, you cannot walk 2 miles before being stopped 5-6 times and maybe arrested for nothing. But the guys in black with all their uniform, with all the crap in their bags and weapons and this and that, nope, never stop them. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nothing new. I mean, it's a lot of cops, that's for sure.
We looked at a lot of this stuff early on.
Yeah, I know. It's just back to what it was, with just less people, because people are afraid, I guess.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, maybe a lot of those people are in jail.
But well, yeah, that's one. A lot of our jail, and now you cannot even take pictures of police officers anymore because you can go to jail for that. I mean, it's just they pass all these crazy laws. Not for forgetting, they are like cyanide into the gas. Jeez. But you see, they walk with their hands behind the back, and that is not yellow vest. That is something else.
What is that?
Poor us white people, we're responsible for slavery, and we support another movement, blah blah blah.
Oh, okay. So that's all right. So that's BLM then. Over
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is contaminating the whole yellow vest system.
What's this is another one, Marseille?
Yeah, Marseille is pretty hardcore because Marseille is the capital of where that virologist is fighting the government. They're fighting because the restaurants are being closed. They want to punish Marseille because that's where supposedly there was less COVID-19 cases because they got the hydroxychloroquine and all that. So now the mayor, working for the government, under the orders of the government, is shutting down supposedly because of all the cases that are positive. Means nothing. They are closing down all the bars and restaurants and everything, and people are pissed. They says, well, we barely survived. Our business barely survived. If you do that, it's over. It's done. So people ask for civil disobedience, and they're right.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a lot more people here, but not as many police. You don't see as many police.
Well, yeah, Marseille, there are people that, they're fire.
I'm going to see what this guy had to say.
Pas les terrasses, ils ont remboursé. Arrêtez. Restez ouverts, messieurs, dames. Et lundi sera ouvert. Lundi.
On va ouvrir notre gueule parce qu'on en a marre. Tout ça, c'est pas des lois.
Il faut qu'on défende toute cette situation et qu'on arrête, s'il vous plaît, de nous ennuyer, de nous embêter, de nous empêcher de travailler, de nous fliquer tout le temps. Voilà, c'est insupportable.
Okay, so what were they just saying?
So they were saying that that's it, that's enough. To police us all the time, to ask us to close all the time. It's like, let us work, for God's sake. Just leave us alone, and it's enough. It doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you do. Yeah. We're gonna still open. That's it. Whatever the orders are.
Yeah, I think that's what California was at that point.
Yeah, they're absolutely right.
Okay, is this a similar situation?
Yeah, these guys just said they never stopped fighting for 2 years.
And this is what they're saying here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
that's pretty much bringing back
and
spirit.
All right. This, of course, the Macron.
Means we will never let go. We will never let go. It's good.
Okay, so I don't know if this is the one we were talking about.
This is, yeah. I mean.
شو ترشو انت شوف طوموبيل شو ترشو كله بقى الباكار شو ترشو شو هاو الطوموبيل.
The white car is the one, or
yeah, the white one.
Yellow vest, or in the street.
Look at that.
شوف
started hitting people.
هرسوها له شو له بقى هوب هرسوها له هرس اللي امه هرس بيهرسوها له هاي شو طلبوا
So I think this person just snapped, huh? They just
Yeah, they did
I mean,
snap
it's
now.
just bringing people into it's a breaking point, and they know they're doing this.
Cassez la voiture.
Now, there's one thing. In the beginning, the yellow vests were not stopping the cars.
Say that again.
In the beginning, the yellow vests were blocking, for example, the places in the how do you call that? The places on the highway when you need to stop and pay to go further.
Yeah, like a
And
toll.
the tolls, the tolls. They were blocking the tolls, meaning they were allowing the people to go without paying. They were hurting, I mean, the government. But I mean, I never liked the fact that they stop the circulation, people to go where they need to go. I don't think that's a good idea, and that's more.
No. If you're
another group doing
protesting,
that. Yeah.
then you're not going to have anyone on your side if you're standing in the middle of the road and preventing them from working, because we know that the cause of the protest is to be in support of the people, to be able to help them to get to work and all that stuff. This thing of needing to get all the attention and stand on the street, and
that's coming from another group.
It's not even, it's purposeless. I mean, well, it's not purposeless. It's contrary to assisting the people. It's pro the administration of whatever agenda that is to bring everything at a standstill.
Well, discredit the yellow vest movement, which is to help people that are in need, and everybody needs to work, and I mean, that is counterproductive for me. So I might understand the guy snaps. It's a little crazy, to tell you the truth, because
no, you do, you understand. I mean, I'm not saying go out and start.
Of course not.
But he's obviously people throwing things at the car, and he's just like losing it. Or him, her, I don't know who's in the car, but say, and then he turns around again and says, all right, fine.
He's mad. He's mad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now he's hunting them, literally. So, I mean, that needs to be stopped. This guy is crazy.
Yeah, and that's the kind of, why are we pushing people to the limit? I mean, someone like that, maybe it doesn't take a whole lot, but
the thing is now people are really mad now, and it's not like I've seen here in the US when you have some crazy people trying to stop a car with children in there and beating on the windows, and then I understand that the people are afraid and they push forward. This is different. This is not the yellow vest. I don't like what they did there.
No, that's a video that just showed up afterwards.
That was good.
I know, of course, there's some cooking in there somewhere. Okay.
Well, just...
auquel vous participez n'a pas été déclaré en préfecture. Aucun déplacement n'est envisageable en raison des contraintes de sécurité. Nous demandons de rester sur place.
So pretty much they're not allowed to go anywhere because of the COVID-19, which has nothing to do with COVID-19. It's just bullshit.
C'est l'évasion fiscale, c'est le RIC, c'est la justice sociale.
They talk about, the core reason why they were, going in the streets, like the same as 2 years ago. Nothing has changed.
Depuis le 17 novembre, on n'a jamais arrêté. Alors, par contre, si vous voulez, ça s'est étiolé au niveau des manifestations, parce que le gouvernement fait en sorte qu'il y ait la peur. On nous a mutilés.
Since the 17th of November, we never stopped. But the thing is, the government have discredited us and literally push, become very violent and create fear and all that. So of course we have less and less people now, but the core is still there.
Yeah.
That lady there, I think she's famous. She's the one that got beat up by the police. Here. Yeah. And then she went to the hospital. But she's relentless. She's not afraid.
Yeah. Some people, it's just in their heart. I feel that's the right thing.
I mean, you need to be brave, because it's,
It's, it's sad because the police officers also, I'm not anti-police.
Of course not.
It's sad the way that all of these people that would never have any problems with one another, a lot of these people probably never committed any crimes.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at, these are older people that just have a business. They're trying to make a living. or I don't know. I mean, they're not
They're
just like
vulnerable people, honest, hardworking people that are right now vulnerable because most of them are artisans, but they don't bring millions of dollars, and the UN want to destroy anything that's the core, the heart of the country.
yeah.
Restaurant or artisans or small businesses. Everybody needs to be equal in poverty. Now we can control the people, give them food stamps, and that's it, right?
Yeah. So
And
I
these
think
people don't want that.
this is the end of our visual display of art between
Yeah.
articles and videos, and I think this is a good note of maybe this woman here kind of reminding us that you don't have to be big and strong. You have to have a heart for what you believe in, but not there's little things here and there that if you want to be effective or to stand up for what is your truth, and there's a lot of different ways to do that, but not blocking people from existing and putting food on their table or doing anything that's harmful, causing someone to lose a job or anything like that because you're blocking the traffic. And also just be mindful of others in the world are going through a hard time, and that yet we're all in this, even though that some people feel like it's not really important, it's not affecting me right now, I can do whatever I need to do. In one way or another it will affect you if you continue to ignore it. And so to be supportive of those that are standing up for the truth, not those that are working with Antifa or anything like that are are being told how to handle and deal with the protests and try to just destroy cities or anything like that. But I mean, I'm sure some of them actually believe that they're doing the right thing. I don't doubt that. But I think that we need to really wake up. And yeah, it's appealing when someone wants to pay you to do something, but you're going to have to live with yourself if you're doing this just for the money and you don't really care who you're harming in the process. It's not a good thing to be doing karmically. It's not a good thing. If the world is really in a pivotal, very difficult situation, this is not a kumbaya bonding moment for a lot of people that suddenly feel like they have a cause, and this is not a cause. This is not a time where you just go out there and protest just because. And we really understand what the issues are and what's going on, and be intelligent about it.
Yep.
Stop following the crowd, the popularity because it's trendy, and putting on the Antifa outfit and feeling like you're empowered. That's not empowering you. You empower you for your own truth, not because someone puts money in your pocket and that you have a license to hurt people that are weaker than you. So and stop being the puppet of Soros. We need to let that go. We need to stop listening. He's done enough damage, and the only reason he has power is because so many people keep giving it to him. And some people will contend, well, he's gone or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the whole agenda around it. I'm not going to get back and forth whether or not he's alive. Obviously, the original force behind it is still there. So yeah. With that said, any last thoughts, Chris?
No, I think it's the same for me. Always, have the highest intention for the highest potential, for France, but not just for France, for every country in the world, so that people can regain their sovereignty without violence. Just standing, and I say in English, just a matter of decision. If everybody would have that same decision within, they might go in the street. They might not even have to be violent at all. You can change everything.
And keep communicating with people, keep sharing information, keep everyone informed, keep educating people, because this is, a lot of things are going on, and a lot of people don't really understand any purpose or any goal or what the complaints are, the problems. It's just chaos that doesn't really have any meaning, that doesn't change the world, it doesn't help anything. So a meaningful conversation, explanations of what the issues are, and be willing to listen to the other side and see if some of the comments, I'm sure, are very valid. Some of them may not be. And if we are going to live amongst each other, we have to be in truth. If not, then others will take over our nation, because we'll be in such disarray and so divided. That'll be easy for them to just walk in. And that goes for any nation. All nations are vulnerable. You can see the EU has their agenda, and so, you know, the US as well, and the many states in the US that want to be divided and have multiple ways to be divided. And of course, you know, the struggles, you know, because of the virus, that people are trying to figure out, you know, what's important, what isn't important, or just kind of bury their head in the sand and stay at home and avoid everything at all costs, or, you know, trying to speak out, like in Australia, where, you know, you just even saying something on Facebook gets those people in trouble. I mean, we should realize how serious this is, and at any time things could always go into that extreme. So we need to be helping one another out. Stop fighting, stop competing unnecessarily, stop saying that this one's right, that one's wrong, or whatever. Try to collaborate and work together, setting our intentions, the highest intention for humanity always. And every single person matters. Everyone has a voice. Everyone can ask for the highest intention and the things that should be happening on this planet. We don't need to accept any of these agendas any longer. So with that said, I said thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much.
And everyone have a good night.
You have been listening to AndronETalks Radio. Join us on YouTube channel Jessica Errol Morocco, and visit her website at www.readingsbyariel.com.